Welcome back. You're watching the RostyMaths channel and you are here to see a video all about averages. Now, in order to make this video a bit real, as you notice I've been doing recently, I am going to include the salary structure of my company, RostyMaths. I'm only joking. I don't have a salary structure because I'm making zero money on this channel anyway, but let's just pretend I am. So you can see here I have my salary structure. Now on my salary structure, I've got various different employees working, which I decided to call A, B, C, D and so on. And there's one employee down the bottom there, that's me, that's earning £155,000 a year. I want to see how that's going to affect my different forms of averages as we go through. Now in this video, we are going to be covering things like mean, the mode, the median, the range, and so on. Now, because this is a bit of a long video, I have got all the chapters laid out here for you, or you can click them down at the bottom of the screen to go to just the section that you want. Let's jump into the video and see what we can find out. Okay, so let's look at the salary structure that we have got. So these are the different people, as we mentioned before. These are the different salary points here. And these are the different ways you can find the average. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to calculate the mean. Now, how do you calculate the mean? You calculate the mean by adding all of the different salaries. Don't forget that we have to times it by 1,000. So this person is 48,000, 35,000, and so on. And then we divide it by how many different salary points we have. So first of all, let's go ahead and add all that up. So when we add all the salary points up, we got 714,000 in total. We divide it by the 15 people that are working there, and it turns out to be around 47,600. That's about there. Now, I want you to have a look at this data and see for yourself. Do you believe that the average salary in this company is about 47.6 thousand? Let's round it to 48,000. Do you believe so? Let's have a look. I have got all these salary points in order in preparation to calculate my median. So I'm going to do that in a little bit. But 48,000 is about here. When you look at all of these salaries in order, would you say that the average salary is about 48,000? No. And the reason why you wouldn't say that is because there is somebody who's earning way above everybody else, and that's pulling everything up. So the mean is affected by the extreme values. We have what we call here an outliers. This person is an outlier. And because their salary is included there, it's affecting everything. So you have to ask yourself, based on the situation that you're in, is it always best to use the mean? Now, because it's an outlier, let's take it out and see what happens. So I'm going to remove that 155,000, and no longer will I have 15 data points. I'm going to have 14 this time. Okay, once we get rid of the outlier, we're going to have 559 divided by 14. So that's going to be 559 divided by 14. And now the salary comes down to 39,900, like that. Now let's have a look at the data again and see what happens. 39,000 puts us somewhere about here, which makes sense now because the average really should be just about in the middle there. So we can say that people are earning about that money. When you think about, you got some people in the 40s and in the low 30s, and there's one person earning 28,000 there. So that makes more sense. So again, the point here is the mean is not always appropriate except you take out the things you need to take out, but that's fiddling with the data. So let's not fiddle with the data. Let's think of other ways we can find out what the average salary is. Another way you can find out the average, if it's appropriate, is by using the mode. Now the mode is calculated by looking at the salary that turns up the most times, or the one that comes up and that has the highest frequency, sometimes we say. So let's have a look at the data again. Now I've got it in order here again, so I'm going to use this order to help me out. And I can see here 35,000 was listed 3 times here, 43,000 was listed 2 times, 48,000 was listed 2 times. So therefore the mode is 35,000. So I'm going to stick that in here, 35,000. Now you might want to argue that the the average salary using the mode is 35,000. Again, we can argue back and forth where that is concerned, but you can have a look here and see that 35,000 puts you about here, which is not necessarily in the middle, and you kind of want it in the middle to find out what the actual salary is. So sometimes it's appropriate to use the mode, sometimes it's not. In this case, because I've got so many bits of data, 15 bits of data, the mode is not appropriate in this instance, but sometimes it will be appropriate. Okay, now let's go on to the median. Now to find the median, you need to put the numbers in order first. So I've already done that here. And the median means middle. So we need to find the middle value. So straight away here, I'll just do some underlining, or actually I'll mark them off in yellow. So I'm just going to get rid of everything on the ends because I am looking for the numbers or number in the middle. If we have 2 numbers in the middle, we'll have to add them and divide by 2. Now, the median here is telling me that it's about 43,000, which I'm inclined to agree with. It is in the middle and it's showing that this is what the data is actually telling me for this set of data. Now we mention that, I'm going to say that the median is not affected by extreme values. It's not affected by the numbers on the ends that are too small or too big. And so the median is one of the most common ways of finding the average, and that is why it's the most common ways, because extreme data does not affect it. Okay, so here we are, 43,000, which to me makes a bit more sense because looking at where it is in the middle, you can tell that that's about the average. Okay, so there you go. Again, it all depends on what your data is telling you. Now, last of all, for this section, we're going to talk about the range. Now, the range is going to be the biggest value, take away the smallest value. The biggest value is 155,000. The smallest value is 28,000, which is going to be 127,000 pounds is the range. Now, the problem with this, what does the range tell me? The problem with this, by taking the biggest value and subtracting the smallest value, the range tells you how the data is spread out. Now, the bigger the range, the more your data is spread out, which means that you don't know. It could be that everybody is earning 30,000 and one person is earning 155,000. And because you don't know how the data is spread out, the range gives you a really good indication if your data is accurate, or if your data, sorry, not accurate, if your data can be depended on. Okay, the bigger the range, the less you can depend on your data. The smaller the range, the more you can depend on your data. Because if the range is small, it means that all of the data are sort of near to each other, and you can make really good predictions for your mean, your mode, or your median, and so on. So in this case, the range is very big, the data is very spread out because of that 155,000, and because of that, this data can't be relied on to find the mean. Okay, all right. Now we're going to go into quartiles, and this is going to be the final thing we do today. Okay, so now we have our lower quartile, which is referred to as Q1, or median, which is normally known as Q2, and our upper quartile, which is Q3. All right, now what does this data give us? It gives us, for the bulk of the company, the lower quarter and the upper quarter, and we compare the salaries between there, because that is going to give us a true indication of what is the average salary that people work for in that company. We'll do the interquartile range while we're at it. Let's start first of all with the median, which we already know because we've calculated it to be 43. So we can just count this out. Because there's 15 bits of data, I'm just going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this side. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on that side. So we know that our Q2, this is going to be our Q2, which is the median. So we've already done that. Now to find the lower quarter, I need the middle of what's left on this side here. So for this one, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So therefore, my Q1 is just there. So this is my lower quartile here. And if you're looking for a formula, it's usually a quarter times the number of values you've got, quarter of n. Sometimes in statistics back in the old days, we used to add 1 to it just to sometimes make it an even number. If I did that, it's going to be 16 data points, and a quarter of 16 will still be the fourth value anyway. So and that's what we used to do back in the day, a quarter of the n plus 1 value. And so that's going to be a quarter of 16, which is the fourth value we're looking for. And then we go along and we find a fourth value there, and then we're away. Okay, same thing for the Q3. Now I'm going to find it by I first, and then I'll show you the calculations. So by I, again, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3 here. And that's going to tell us that our upper quartile is 48,000. So that's going to be my Q3 just there. And again, back in the day, we used to do 3/4 of the n plus 1. So we have got 15 data points. Add 1, it makes 16. So that's going to be 3/4 of 16. And we're looking for the 12th value in this case, which we can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the 12th value. It's 48,000. All right, now that we've got that, here's the beauty of now what we have. We can say that on average in this company, people are earning between 35,000 and 48,000. Now that makes a lot of sense because this is where the bulk of your people are. Let's highlight that. This is where the bulk of your people are in the company. You have a few people who've been there for a long time, they're earning a lot more money, and then you have a few people who've just joined, they're earning a bit less money, but that's okay. But that is where the bulk of it is. Now I'm going to use that data to then work out my average. So let's first of all check the interquartile range, or the IQR as we call it, interquartile range. Now we work that out by taking the upper quartile Q3, take away the lower quartile Q1, and that's going to give us 48,000. Take away that 35,000, that's going to be about 13,000, and that gives us a much smaller number than the 127 we had previously. So this means that, you know, people are still earning, you know, quite a bit of gap between them, but this is a bit more reliable now because all of these numbers are sort of near each other. They're progressing quite nicely near each other. And now I can therefore say that from this, since I know that the average salary is between 35 and 48,000, right in the middle there where my Q2 is, I didn't actually show you how to work out the Q2. Let me show you really quickly now. Your Q2, or your median, is a half of n plus 1. That's going to be a half of 16, which is the 8th value. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to say for sure now that the average salary is going to be about £43,000 in this company. And guys, that is it. And that brings us to the end of this video. So if you are somebody working in a company like this, or you're doing the statistics, you're working out the average salaries, or the average anything for that matter, these are some of the methods you can choose. Now, did you spot something that you think would have been done a bit better? Pop it in the comments down below. I'd be happy to see it. Thank you for watching so far into this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe below and ring that notification bell so you don't miss another upload. But for now though, until I see you on the next video, peace.